Hello boys and girls, my name is SidAlpha and we're coming together again today to ask the all-important question about a video game: is it worth it? Today we're going to be taking a look at Big Pharma. This game was released a little while ago, August 27th to be precise. Unfortunately, I was planning on doing a video, or I should say releasing a video on this game sooner. However, it's what happens when somebody actually goes through and deletes all of your video and audio files. I know it's been pointed out to me on Twitter that that's basically the new equivalent to a dog ate my homework, but that's what happened to me, so that's a thing. So bear with me as we try and get through, as the amount of footage that I have left is somewhat limited. I will try and make the best use of it as I can to present the game to you in a concise fashion. But before we start getting into that, let's take a quick look at the options menu. Okay, here we are in the options menu. We have the game settings, language, announcer language, currency symbol, 1000 separator, product needs name, all that stuff, controls, mouse button to pan, rotate machines with mouse wheel, edge scrolling, edge sensitivity, move up, move down, and the controls are rebindable here, which is a good thing to see. And then we have our video settings, display, full screen or windowed, resolution. We have all your standard resolutions, wall decals on or off. You'll notice quite a few other settings are missing from the video options menu. There is no anti-aliasing options or anisotropic filtering, or any of that pixel shaders or anything, which also is not something you would necessarily expect to see in a game like this, but it would be nice if those were present. And then of course the standard audio volumes, factory, GUI, music, and announcer. So that was a look at the options menu. Another few things that you will need to know about the game is that this style of game, it's not an action game or anything like that. You basically have to be someone who likes this style of genre to be able to actually really get into this style of game. And for what it does, it actually does pretty well. The graphics are decent. I've noticed no game-breaking glitches, or very few glitches overall, to be perfectly honest. And the overall core mechanics of the game seem solid. The menu layouts are a little counterintuitive in how to operate things, but once you get used to them, they're fine, I guess. They're perfectly functional. And the game does introduce a fair amount of interesting mechanics within its own subset of the game. Part of that is it does have basically a research topology where you unlock different types of equipment and things like that to be able to create newer and more varied types of medicines. And also you have researchers and explorers that you will be able to hire and send out, and these do the researching for you to research these upgrades. And once you have a new resource or new technology unlocked, that researcher goes back to the pool, or those researchers, because some start off with only requiring one explorer or one researcher, and it goes up as, you know, the rarer the item is or the more intricate the machinery is. It takes longer to research and requires more hirelings to be able to do that. And once you have those unlocked, there is basically a 3-tier category on each medicinal resource that you gather that can be used and combined with other items in different ways to be able to create new and different medicines. And their potency and their side effects can be quantitated by yourself, and some filtered out, others magnified, depending on how you go about designing your machine. And basically the vast majority of this game is designing long conveyor belts with a bunch of machines in the middle. That's the basic core of the game. And for what it does extremely well. Like I said, it's solid. It's got good mechanics. Games like this typically don't have much of a story mode, nor would you expect one. But it does have campaign missions, basically where you are doing battle, economic battle against other pharmaceutical corporations, trying to be the biggest and the best, the big guy on top, to be Big Pharma, as it were. And for what it does, like I said, it does it well. However, I do have to note that you do have to be a fan of this style and genre of the game to actually be able to appreciate it. Myself, I am not a fan of this style of genre. I'm really not. It's not my thing. I find it dull. I find it boring. I find it to be something that would be better suited to a phone app game or a tablet game than it would be an actual PC computer game. So with that being said, I find it a little shocking and a little odd that this game actually has the price tag that it does. I found it to be quite odd. And so I started digging into the game more, getting a little bit more in depth to try and find more that would make me feel that the value is actually there. And so far what I've found is that I don't necessarily think it is. But before we go too much further into that, I am going to show you a brief look at the actual gameplay here. Okay folks, here's what you can expect within the gameplay. This is your main screen. As you can see, you can zoom in or out. You can move around by hitting the borders with the mouse or with the WASD. And here are your left side menu options, which is this is basically for construction. You can place a belt. You do have different tools that do different things here. They either decrease or increase concentration. We also have the auxiliary components, the analyzer, which actually allows you to find the maximum effectiveness for each category on each ingredient that you have. We have the multi-mixer, which adds the cures and side effects of 2 different ingredients into one. We have the shaker, which actually shifts or reorients the effects of each drug, and then we have a packer here. In the makers, we have a pill printer and a creamer. And then you can, of course, customize and colorize everything to make it easier for you to discern which is what. Then we go over down here at the bottom. We have pause, play, or fast forward loans. You can take out loans at different interest rates. And then we have, of course, our production, which is the main screen. We have ingredients here where you have different ingredients, and you have explorers in order to perform research, like to unlock further ingredients. And anytime you have explorers that are not out researching things, they actually research ingredient upgrade points. The more upgraded each ingredient has, the lower the cost is for the ingredient. We go over to our cures here, and we have different categories, and this tells you what strength requirements and how to optimize in order to get to a new drug in that particular line. Now there are different ingredients which give you different effects that you can use to achieve these. Then we have our research tab, which this is basically the upgrade path for your equipment. A lot of this equipment, this basic pharma, you come with basically these guys, and then you do have to research the ionizer and agglomerator. Then you have basic auxiliary, alternate delivery, advanced processing, and national headquarters with advanced techniques, planning, permission, desert expeditions. Then we have the company tab, which tells you on yours, you have what medicines you're making, what they're rated at for cure rating. Ooh, we're actually going to have to improve our painkiller a bit there. And the current value and the current profit you have on each one. And you can also see your opponents here on what they're making. Then we have the load, save options, leave game, return to game. So that's a basic overview, and this is, as I said, simply a Sims style game where you're constructing things in order to gain profit. Now this game will have world events and things of that nature, like there's a research complete. We just researched our drug packer. And in the meantime, we'll go to research. See, we got those 2 scientists back. I actually have to hire another one, which is fine. We can handle the cost. And we'll start researching advanced processing. Now this does take a period of time. As you can see, the progress goes by very slowly. The same as with ingredients, where when you're researching new ones, it does take a certain amount of time to completion. Okay, so that is a look at the game's interfaces and gameplay. As you can see, it does have a fair amount of variety, but only superficially. Once you actually delve down into the core mechanics of the game, you'll actually realize that the only things that really matter are speed, of which you do things, and those 3 graphs on each medicinal type and each medicine you're trying to create. Because what that means, what that tells me is that once you have that quantified down to a certain specific time and a set pattern of recognition, it's very easy to be able to go through and get things set up for yourself, which takes away a lot of the flavor and variety of the game. This is basically boiled down to that very limited scope and mechanics. So with that taken into account, I did find this game not very entertaining for myself. Like I said before, though, I am not a fan of this style of genre of game, and so it takes a lot for me to be able to get into a game like that and be able to feel invested. And that's not really anything that I felt here at all. And overall, once you get the core mechanics of the game figured out, it becomes basically a clicker, which is not something I like seeing in a PC game. So with that, once again, this game is $25 on Steam, which really made me wonder, because I'm actually seeing a pattern here with some indie devs of charging this $25 price tag for their games, when the overall quantity and qualitativeness of that quantity is not really up to that standard, up to that par. Now, I've seen plenty of other games in Steam that are from indie developers that have way more content and way more diversity to the gameplay that are also charging $25, and with better graphics, I might add, which makes me wonder where the developers are pulling these price tags from, because I know they're proud of their game and they did a good job for the game they set up. It is polished, it works well, it functions, it does what it's supposed to do, but I think they're a little too proud of the game. I think they are. Because this is once again one of those moments where I have to stop and tell the developer, I'm sorry, I really can't recommend your game. Not at this price point. If this were a game that was in the $10 to $15 range, or probably right around that $12 price range, then I would have to say, yes, if you were a fan of the genre, then by all means go out and buy the game. You would not be disappointed. But to answer the question, is it worth it at this $25 price tag? No, absolutely not. It really isn't. So if you are taking a look at Big Pharma, if you are interested in this style of game, please wait for the price to go down or for a Steam sale, as you're not going to be able to get your money's worth at this $25 price point. And for those of you who are not a fan of the genre, you most likely will not be purchasing the game anyways, so I don't really need to warn you specifically to stay away, because once you get the core mechanics worked out, it's going to get very dull very fast. So this has been a look at Big Pharma, a game by Twice Circled that was released on August 27th and is on Steam right now for $25 or your regional equivalent. Once again, my name is SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time. Hey folks, SidAlpha here. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. If you want to check out some other First Impressions videos, feel free to click on the link on the left. If you're interested in staying more up to date with what's happening in the PC gaming community, feel free to click on the link to your right. The subscribe button is down at the bottom. Please show your support and punch that evil thing as hard as you can. And once again, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.